So welcome back everyone to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan. Here for today we have on the show, and what can I say? The incredible, the amazing, the badass, the superstar, the legendary, the one and only, and even a superhero. Let's find out why. Darrell, how are you today, man?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
I mean, what better way to have an incredible, super badass day than to be chatting with someone as badass as you? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I love it. Now, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow. It helps a lot. But also, on the description below, you're gonna find all of Darrell's social media. Let's follow him and let's find out why he is super badass. Without further more, let's jump in. So I want to start this whole epic conversation by throwing out, with the first question, which is, what was the moment that hit you? You know that this is it. This is what I'm meant to do. This is what I'm my passion.
No, the answer to that is like I was a competitive bodybuilder, and growing up, I always watched on TV Lou Ferrigno, Arnold Schwarzenegger in different movies, Conan the Barbarian, The Incredible Hulk. And I always told myself after I discontinue being a bodybuilder, I want to go into acting like those gentlemen did.
There you go. Epic. Epic. And
Yeah.
tell me, like, during this whole transition, right, when you were starting out, making your first steps, like those baby steps, let's say, what were some of the challenges that you had when you were taking this acting career into kind of the transitioning to make it into a pro one, let's say?
Yeah, I think the first challenge was just knowing the steps. Like I remember going on my first audition. I went from North Carolina to Georgia, and I had no idea of the skills or the techniques that it took to go into a room in front of a casting director, producer, and do an audition. And so 15 years later, I tell my wife now, I said, "Hey, Jamie, I think I want to try this acting again." And and she said, "You should." And in 2018, 2017, I believe, I jumped on it and started making efforts to get in different projects and was asked to be in projects. And it just that fuel just kept burning, and I've been pressing forward ever since.
There you go. And do you remember, like, yeah, like those feelings, or from your first audition, were they like terrifying, exciting, or a complete disaster with a lesson that you kind of never forget?
It was definitely a complete disaster. Um, and I say that in the most awesome way, because I think if it was an immediate success, I may not have appreciated it as more of putting in the work like I've continued to do. And this is what's really started helping me get better, is going through that failure then and coming back and reevaluating it and going, hey, I want to now, let's now Google is around. Let's see what the steps and what does an actor need to do first. And finding an agent, getting headshots, and going to film camp for demo reels. All of these things I learned during that time. And it's also the very moments that helped me slowly but surely get better as an artist.
And looking back, like, what is something that you wish someone had kind of warned you, let's say, about when you were just getting started in this whole business?
Honestly, I don't even know if I would have wanted someone to warn me, just because I think in order to really learn, you have to figure that out on your own. And this industry is one of those things that you really have to figure out on your own. Um, your success is determined by your efforts and the efforts that you put in every day. And if my efforts 8 years ago, I wouldn't be here having this conversation with you. And so just making sure that every year I'm trying to get a little bit better, re-examining myself as an actor, and just knowing that God has something really big planned for me, and I have to keep in pursuit of that.
Okay. And what was like the first time when you truly felt seen? Yeah, felt seen as an actor. Like someone finally got what you were trying to bring to life.
The first time I really felt seen is when I had gotten a role as a background actor, and I just thought it was the absolute coolest thing. And getting that opportunity, and guess what? That role was me pretending to work out in the background. And so, and it was a gym scene, and and getting that opportunity is what has propelled me to keep pursuing it. And I was just very grateful to have that opportunity to know that experience in that moment and what that made me feel. And that just energized me to keep going forward.
And when you step into a new character, is it more like, somehow like putting on a mask or somehow peeling back layers of yourself?
For me, I think it's really putting on a mask. I really want to separate my personal life from the character. Even though I may do my practicing here at home or going through my lines here at home, um, a lot of times I'm really diving into the character. Maybe when I'm in the car by myself and I'm going and I'm driving and I'm saying those lines and I'm trying to find him, maybe his voice or how he feels during certain moments, and that's how he starts to evolve.
I mean, isn't it that like amazing whenever you are able to kind of create this, yeah, like creating this character to it. I find it amazing when you are watching either on TV, film, theater, whatever, and you somehow feel like this connection to the character you're seeing. Even though that what you're seeing it's fiction, still it's amazing. Or I find it amazing when you are really have like these real emotions because they come out of you for that character you're watching, and perhaps what they're living through on that specific scene might be different about it, but maybe the inner message to it is kind of similar. So you have like this kind of connection to it that and we have seen it that whenever they kill your character or something happens to your character, you actually feel devastated to it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, there's been times when I was on set and the camera's going and I'm saying my lines and it just really hits me. The emotion of playing that character hits me, and then we're take a break and we come back and it's just that's what acting is about. I don't believe anyone that watches a television show or a movie just watches it to watch it. I think every person is getting some type of emotional feeling from watching it and trying to understand or figure out the characters within the movie.
Totally. And during this whole process, when you are kind of digging so you can create this character, how do you protect your emotions? You know?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think it's when it comes to acting, I don't think you're really supposed to protect your emotions. I think it's a place where you're supposed to be very vulnerable and allow yourself to experience it, not just project the feeling to those who may be watching it. So I want to experience that feeling. And there's been many of times where I've been in acting class or I've been on set and I have gone through that emotional aspect where I've just absolutely made that connection with that character, and we are we're doing the damn thing.
And tell me, during this whole process, you finish the project, you're good to go, you call the day off, whatever. Tell me, how do you kind of separate from this character? Do you have, I don't know, like in a specific ritual, let's say, or is it more like you fully disconnect and continue moving along with your life?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. Honestly, most of the time I really have conversation with my wife and we just speak about it and I tell her how I was feeling during that moment, and but when we're done, we're done. And as far as when the days of filming on set is finished, I may have that conversation with my wife, but now I have to prepare myself for whatever may come next.
Totally, totally. And some actors kind of use method acting to fully kind of immerse themselves in a role. Have you ever kind of tried that? And
Absolutely.
and like
Yes.
what and like what are some of your thoughts on it?
Well, I think, when it comes to method acting, you really want to put yourself out there. You want to feel it. You want to embrace the character and be the character. And, I've had, discussions with friends before. And for me, I believe you're the actor before you get to set. You should be the character once you arrive. And that's how you can separate yourself from the character and really hone in. And once this lights action camera, now you're off to the races.
Mm, okay, okay. And well, many actors are seen as as their characters sometimes. So, what do you think that how that may affect to their personal life and the way people might interact with them off screen?
I've heard of a lot of actors like one of the Joker characters, um, actors who played Joker, and he played it so well and it became him as well that he couldn't disconnect. And I feel like a lot of actors do that. And I think that really comes with you being in the character every single day, preparing for being on set. And one of the biggest things that my wife always tells me, she says, Darrell, practice, take a break. Practice, take a break. And because she sees that I'm walking around the house, I'm trying to talk, I'm trying to feel and become that character, but emotionally, I still need to be a husband. And I can't be the character and be the husband. So, that's why I say a lot of the times, like when I've gone to acting class, I would practice the character in the car, or when I'm headed to the gym to train a client, I'm practicing vocally because my dogs, when it's an intense role and you're having to speak a certain way, they act a little differently. And so it just the whole house becomes a little differently, honestly. So when I'm by myself in the car, that gives me the opportunity to really say it how I want to say it from here.
Totally. And do you think acting can reveal hidden parts of an actor's personality, or is it more like stepping completely outside of yourself?
Yeah, I definitely think it can. There's been, I feel like, plenty of moments where I was portraying different characters, or I would pick out a certain. I'm just so you know, I'm the type of actor that if I'm going to an acting class and I have to pick out a scene, it's going to be one of the toughest scenes to do. And one of the toughest scenes that I've done to date was the character for the movie Split. And getting into all these different characters and speaking in different ways, holy hell, it took a toll. Because if you're going to commit to being him, you have to really commit. And otherwise, it's not portrayed as real. The person's not feeling it when you're performing it. And so, living in that, anytime I was up practicing and being in that moment day and night, and then going and performing it, it was definitely something else.
I mean, it's
So
a. Sorry.
no, so the answer to your question, yeah, I think every actor at some point in their career is living with that character, but you also have to have a healthy mindset to detach yourself and go back to normal life.
during the this whole acting and everything, kind of one of the things that you have to face is the whole rejection side, and we all know that rejection can hit hard. So what's kind of the most memorable no you have received, and how did that shape your journey into kind of a better version, let's say?
I think every time I do an audition and I get rejected or I don't hear get a call back, or I think it just empowers me. Why? Because I know that I'm capable. I know that if chosen, I would be positive on set. I would be great in my character. But at the same time, you're convincing several people that you're the person. And there's also something that I believe in, that your time will come. And you have to go through these rejections first. And then when your time comes, sometimes it takes a lot of actors one time and their career blossoms. So you just never really know. But those rejections from not getting a callback or not getting an opportunity is what fuels me every single time to try a little bit harder at each audition that I receive. Also, I think one of the other things that really makes it fun, at least in my home, is like me and my wife likes to watch the bloopers. Every time I mess up, and she just starts laughing when she's helping me, and but she also says, "Hey, Darrell, this is supposed to be fun. You shouldn't take this so serious." And she is so right, because this has given me the opportunity to act, and with consistency, this will pay off at some point. So,
Yeah, yeah, I like it. And every actor has this moment where they think, should I keep going? So do you ever have like that, like moments like that? And what pulled you back into the game, basically?
yeah, I think what really pulls me back into the game is that me and my wife have an agreement with one another. Anything that we start, we finish. And the reason for that is because it's really important to see the outcome at the end. So, and, if you never got to the end, how would you know what happened? If you quit, it'll always be on the back of your mind forever. And I've never been a person who just quit, but I just, I know that being 100% involved in this industry and putting my best effort into everything that I do, and knowing that I may receive rejections, I may get the opportunities, and just having fun regardless of the outcome is really what I've started to feel about acting in general. I used to take it so serious, where if I haven't heard anything in 6 months, life was over. My wife would go, Darrell, you still have a job to get to. You have people that count on you, that you're helping train, that are depending on you to show up. And this is just part of your life. So, and she was completely right. So she's my voice of reason when I get into here.
Totally, totally. I like it. And during this whole, downtime between auditions, so you will continue doing your auditions and everything. So during this whole downtime, how you stay kind of yeah, how do you maintain this creativity flowing in your body, in your head, so you can continue working on something else during this time?
Yeah, so I've been a personal trainer for 34 years, and I'm always helping people transform their bodies in helping them get in fabulous shape. And that's another way for me of being an artist. They come in one way, and 6 months later their life is completely different on how they look physically. And another avenue for me is just creating different videos with my wife. Just I've never been a filmmaker or anything of that nature, but a lot of times when we're driving around the lake, I'll bring my camera and I'll just take different shots and I'll put it together and tell a story. So just different stuff like that.
Hmm. And as I was saying before, I think that during those kind of moments is when you can, like, something will spark in your head or something will kind of connect, and then you will have this idea to either to work on your craft or perhaps a character for a story that maybe at some point you wanna be like you wanna create. You know, I have seen this with a lot of actors that sometimes whenever they don't have like this much of auditions or they have like this downtime, they will create instead. You know, they will be like, okay, so I'm gonna create like my own story. I will gather a couple of people, some cameras. Let's make this happen. You know, to kind of a staying in the zone. Let's say, you know, and it also helps you to at the same time discover more about the different. Yeah, about the different places of the acting, you know, that you can also check producing, you can also check directing, writing, like all of that. So, you
Yeah,
know,
I definitely want to get, do different things within the acting industry, within the entertainment industry. Maybe be a DP on set one day, or, I just think it's cool to learn different things and implement it in your life, because it helps you mentally stay younger.
mhm.
Because the thinking, and that's why I love acting. I receive a script that's 12 pages, or as of lately, I did a play that was 77 pages, even, and we had all these different actors, and it's just really helps me stay young, just memorizing these lines and getting into character. And it's just, I don't know, it's my fountain of youth in a way.
Totally, I like it. I'm still I'm discovering why you're badass here, you know? Just saying, you know. And you know, like what is yeah, like what is something about being an actor that maybe no one ever talks about, but you know what, they definitely should.
For me, I think it's really the mental health of being an actor. We all get into this industry to be successful, and it's really not on our time. It's on other people's time where you land. It's really your effort that you have to put in, and making sure that you are being present when you need to be for yourself, and being patient. And for a lot of us, being patient is so tough. It's so hard. And but mental health, and for me, just I always want to be kind to other actors, because this is not easy. And giving someone else some positive affirmation takes it takes take goes a long ways. And I think every actor should do that for another actor, because we're all trying to get to the same destination, but our journeys are different. If you're listening to a fellow actor and they're going through a hard time, or you can tell it in a post that they make, it may change the total atmosphere of their day by them receiving a message from you saying, "Hey, bro, keep up the great work," or whatever it may be. And that's what makes the world go around, is just being kind to each other.
There you go. And when people watch your work years from now, tell me what's the one thing you hope they feel or remember about you?
Um, I really hope that people remember me as someone who chased his dreams and never backed down. Everything that Darrell said that he would do is what he did. And that I was kind to people, and and knowing that, man, knowing that this world has so much going on, and we as a community should have each other's back. It shouldn't be all about self. It should be selfless. So, and that's the type of person I am, is selfless.
Epic. I love it. And you know, like in general, like what motivates you? You know, we all have those days that basically we just want to quit. It's inevitable, happens to all of us. So how you stay focused or motivated on a day that perhaps, let's say, you're not doing so well, you know?
Yeah, when I'm not motivated or I'm just having one of those days, I think me going into prayer and just having that moment of being silenced and being in the moment of just realizing that life is not as bad as I may be thinking it is in that moment. There's always something to be grateful for. And, sometimes we as humans, we put so much expectations upon ourselves, and instead that extra expectation is bringing us down because we're not meeting them as quickly or as fast as we wanted to. But the reality is like you said earlier, this is a marathon, and as long as you're getting 1 mile done at a time, you're going to get to where you want to be, and that is across that finish line. So this is, it's not always about motivation, but it's definitely about realizing that life isn't as bad as what you think it is, and just to keep going, keep fighting for the very things you're passionate about and love.
There you go. I like it. And you know what? My last question here, so we can all enjoy and relax after an epic chat here. So here we go. What do you think that could be the best title for this episode?
Best title for this episode. Um, Learning more about Darrell.
I'll take it. Sounds like a franchise to me. Sounds like a trilogy. We're starting out with
Learning,
with the
yeah,
first one.
you know, I don't get these opportunities very often. Yes, and I love having these conversations, and these are fantastic questions, by the way, that you asked today.
Thank you.
But what you're doing is, I just want to say it is incredible because you are making people's day. You're giving them the opportunity to have conversation. And a lot of people may not have someone in their life that they can have an actual conversation with. So I just want to applaud you for all the work that you do, and how you're helping other actors, in the very moment that they may be going through something, realize that wow, they had a great day today.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'll take that. Sure. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, as we were like speaking before, doing this whole thing, that at the end of the day, also when I was telling you the fact that during this time that I was starting out, this whole dark period of my life, but at the end of the day, it was all of the actors that I've interviewed that somehow pieces of them got stuck with me, and I was even said about, and I was also talking about this the other day in another interview, that it's like this version of me that started this platform until now is sometimes, yeah, it's somehow like the recollection from different pieces from people that I've interviewed, that I basically kind of grab them to apply them to me, and somehow is like this version now is like a mix from everybody, which is great because at the end, as I was saying, the fact that you never know what the other person might be struggling in their personal life, and if somehow I can some yeah, I have like a cool chat, but also to inspire someone out there who might be facing kind of another, yeah, like their own struggles, or maybe they just want to hear like a cool chat. I am a strong believer that if you manage to make one person feel good, then you're on the right track. You know what I mean? So
Yes, yes, I
yeah.
agree completely.
Thank you. So I want to thank you so much for making this happen. I also want to thank those who stayed the whole episode. Let us know what you think in the comments below, but also because, well, at this point you find out why Darrell is badass. Let's follow him. Let's share some love. Let's make him viral. Hashtag Team Darrell. And again, man, thank you for making this happen. Keep rocking out there. Keep kicking ass. Keep shining. And I'll be definitely seeing you in the next one.
Looking forward to it. Have a great day.
All right.